What's going on? You're back live on Inside the Game, episode 255 here on the National Soccer Network. Nate Wangler alongside Ryan Glinsky, just outside of Grand Rapids and just outside of Detroit, where Ryan is in our studios there at the National Soccer Network. Getting into this show here today, a lot to talk about, Ryan. Wanted to start off with this, though. I can't believe I didn't see this story. This happened, I believe it was last week, Tuesday. And, I know we like to open up our shows with different things from time to time, but apparently there was a meteorite that hit Ohio. Things continue to get more weird in that state. Outside of Florida, I feel like Ohio is the other state where it's just, endless possibilities as to what happens in that place, although there's nothing there. So it's a very weird place. If you've never been to Ohio, I would go just to see it, but, there's not a lot to see in the first place. There are some places. I'll give Cleveland a little bit of credit. Cincinnati's okay. Outside of that, there's just not a whole lot. But meteorite hunters fanned out across a wide swath of Ohio on Thursday, hoping to collect fragments of what was an estimated 7-ton space rock that crashed into Earth this week after dazzling fireball was seen from hundreds of miles away. Apparently, this thing could be seen over like 9 different states as it was passing over, but broke apart around 9 a.m. Tuesday over Valley City, a half hour south of Cleveland. And it sped through the atmosphere. It's like 45,000 miles an hour. But essentially what it did is it created a sonic boom that could be heard all the way to Connecticut. And so people are out there trying to collect artifacts and stuff. And, I was a Lilo and Stitch fan growing up. So I'm thinking maybe that it's just Project 624 or the next version of Project 624. So he's out there somewhere crawling around wreaking havoc. But yeah, what the hell's going on in Ohio, man? It's a weird place. A weird place.
It's Ohio. There's always weird stuff going on, to be honest with you. It's Ohio. There ain't nothing there. It's just delusional sports fans that think Ohio State football is the greatest thing in the world, and they complain that Michigan cheated and all that fun stuff. Yet your last 3 national championships, we should put an asterisk on it, was not pass interference in 2002. You needed an expanded playoff in 2015. You needed an expanded playoff in 2024, and you lost to a coach that was DMing only fan models and could not throw the forward pass. And that is your greatest team of all time. So, no, delusional fan base down there.
Yep. I was really hoping the meteorite would strike at exactly 411 Woody Hayes Drive in Columbus, Ohio. I was hoping that would be like I was hoping that would be the impact point, maybe right at the 50-yard line. But unfortunately, it wasn't. So, we might have extraterrestrial life roaming around in Ohio, which honestly doesn't make it any more weird of a state than it already was. It just kind of adds to the flavor in the Buckeye State. And I can say that as a proud Midwest League broadcaster and going to Lake County, Ohio a couple of times throughout the course of the last few years, I will say, though, Ryan, they do have one place in Lake County, Ohio, that is the greatest. It's like Disneyland for fat people, which, I'm not fat, but I'm definitely not underweight. I guess according to BMI, I'm a little bit on the higher side.
Technically, everyone's overweight. If you really look at the numbers,
BMI's BS though. I mean, I get that, but yeah, that's true.
Technically, I'm probably overweight for my age and height. I probably should be like But to be fair, I think all those numbers were back in the day, and that's when no one had all the extra oils and all the foods and stuff. So
all that extra stuff. Yeah, you got a point there. Oh well, and right along those lines. So there's this place. It's right by where the Lake County Captains play their game. So if you're ever out that direction, it's called Biagio's. And Biagio's they have donuts, coffee, pizza, and ice cream all at the same place.
Jeez.
You can literally walk out with a slice of pizza and ice cream and a coffee from one place. You got to make one stop, and that's Biagio's. So shout out Biagio's. The rest of Ohio is a little bit weird. I don't know what they got going on, but that place, you got to get an advertisement for that place because that place is awesome. But no positive Ohio stories on your end. No fun times in Ohio at all. No. Okay.
It's Ohio. Nothing there.
Hey,
it's the armpit of the Midwest.
Detroit's bad, but at least it's not Cleveland. That's all I'll say. So let's
Yeah,
get into our number
you
one and
know
our.
your state's bad when you have to have tolls to go to places. That's how you know your state's bad because no one actually cares for
Yeah,
your state, so you have to charge them for driving through your
yeah.
state.
Yeah. Tell Illinois and Chicago that too. Although I apparently now there's ways of getting around tolls without having to pay for it. So apparently there's an app that tells you where to go. There's an app for everything. But yeah, Ohio, figure it out, man. I don't know what y'all got going on over there. But let's get into our number one in our conversation here on Inside the Game. As always, we thank you for coming back and joining us every single day of the week. Ryan, we saw this break, or not really break, on ESPN yesterday. This has been, as ESPN called it, one of the worst kept secrets in international football. It looks like there's someone ready to take over the France job after the World Cup, and it's actually one of the 1998 teammates of the current manager that is in France. Ryan, as always, I'll let you lay this one out for us. It's just amazing to see, though, just the seamless transition that this will be for France, because I don't think they're going to skip a beat from one guy to the next.
I think you could have me manage the team and no one would skip a beat. It's France, man. They're up there. This is also the guy that cost them in the 06 World Cup. So, maybe they still have some bad feelings about that. Yeah, no. Zinedine Zidane will be taking over in the World Cup for France. After the World Cup, after Didier Deschamps steps down, retires, mutual. I don't know what Didier Deschamps. I just like saying that. I like saying his name, Didier Deschamps. I mean, Deschamps was unbelievable. He's won a World Cup. He's been to a World Cup final. This guy's done nothing but win, except in the Euros. I guess that's a good point.
Yeah.
He doesn't win really in the Euros. But to be honest with you, if you ask any soccer fan, of any international soccer fan, they would say, well, I would rather win the World Cup than the Euros. And this guy was a PK shootout away from winning back-to-back World Cups. Could you maybe say the roster's, unbelievable? Yeah, but at the same time, I mean, there's a lot of really good players, a lot of egos on the team, and they put egos aside. I mean, that's got to be credited for something. But Deschamps been an unbelievable manager for France, but there comes a certain time when you have to step aside at some point, because with Pep Guardiola, another manager that, ideas become stale. Philosophies become stale a little bit. I don't really see France having that, to be honest with you, because they always play pretty good and pretty well, and they play together. But maybe Deschamps just, again, I haven't read into why Deschamps is not the manager. I'm sure it's just a retirement thing for him. But Zidane, he's had a couple stints at Real Madrid. That's where he used to play as well, and he did an unbelievable job. He was the manager for their 3 straight Champions Leagues, which a team never did before, with Gareth Bale and Karim Benzema and Cristiano Ronaldo, Luka Modric, Toni Kroos. I can go on and on about how unbelievable those teams were, and he's been nothing but success in every stop that he's been to, especially at Real Madrid. Yeah. He was really good. I thought maybe he would take over a different club role, just because he seems like a little bit of a younger age for a manager at this point in his managerial career. And you think a manager a little bit younger would test the waters a little bit with the club, then go into international. Because I mean, I would say every single club in the world would probably want to hire this guy. Maybe not Barcelona because of the whole Real Madrid ties. Maybe not Barcelona, but yeah, I would say probably everyone would want to hire Zidane. I'd hire Zidane at Arsenal. I'd hire Zidane at Man City. I'd hire Zidane everywhere. If he wanted to be the U.S. men's national team manager, I'd hire Zidane in a heartbeat as well.
Yeah.
But I guess maybe the only knock on him would be, well, he's always had star-studded rosters. Yeah, that's true. But I mean, same thing with Pep Guardiola. You could have that same argument. But again, you still got to manage these guys. You still got to manage these egos. And I think France, it's a really good move for him. Really good for France as well, because, again, we talked about on the show about should a U.S. men's national team have a U.S.-born coach. It doesn't really matter because we don't really have I wouldn't say we have a good, pool of managers that are U.S.-born. We aren't really there in our soccer journey. However, nations like France, Spain, typically England, but they don't have one right now with Thomas Tuchel, who's Germany, I would say most of those nations will probably have a country or their country-born manager. And France is keeping it with had it with Didier Deschamps. And I love saying that name. I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of sad to see him go. And Zidane, obviously, he's French as well, so not a big issue there in keeping it within the country. But yeah, no, I think it's a good move for everyone involved. I think Zidane's gonna do a really good job, and again, he still has a star-studded roster. He still's got a young Mbappe, younger still Mbappe, still on his prime. A lot of again,
Yeah.
France will always have guys that come through the ranks too. So no, France will still be a perennial power for years to come.
Yeah, and I think that what's most exciting is that, or at least most telling. You talked about how he's a proven winner. Obviously, we've saw that at Madrid. We've seen that in everything that he did before 2021 and what he had done at the club level. So all of that is proven. And again, despite a lack of maybe international experience, I think the one thing that's pretty cool if you're a French fan to know is that Zidane has been holding out for this opportunity for a while. Since 2021, he's turned down a slew of offers to go coach at different clubs across Europe and other places in the hope that by holding out, he could eventually get this international job and be the man for France, which I think is the part where, when we talk about like U.S. men's national team and Mauricio Pochettino, I mean, we just got done having a conversation about how he's weighing options in the Premier League and he's in talks with other teams. So to think that someone held out for 5 years knowing that, they might be in line for the position or just really kind of dedicating themselves to this is where I want to be. I want to be with the national team. I want to be in a position to lead this side to a World Cup. Even with the proven track record that he has, I mean, to have a resume like that and to turn down what I'm sure was probably some lucrative jobs and some opportunities with other clubs to be like, no, my dedication, my focus right now is on the country. My focus right now is on the national team. I think that's pretty honorable. And if I'm a French fan, I'm pretty excited about that. Clearly, they're your priority, and so when you combine the resume and you combine those things, and obviously he's going to automatically garner the respect of the players that are underneath him, which I think is the most important. This isn't a hire for France where it's like, whoa, like this is out of nowhere, and we have to kind of start over again. This is why I talked about how it's a seamless transition. Are there bad feelings there? There might be, but I mean, I would hope that at this point it's kind of water under the bridge. But there's a lot to love between the pedigree, but also, again, just his persistence and wanting to be there and wanting to be in that position and casting aside any distractions or anything that could potentially take him away from goal number one, which is leading the French national team. And so I think that's something that's really cool. But you're right. I mean, 3 UCLs. He was great at Madrid. It's going to command instant respect. He's waited for this job. All of those things. They're going to look more fluid the way that they play under him. And I expect that. More technical around the midfield. Obviously, you're still very strong and deep. And to your point, managing the French national team, I imagine, is probably one of the most thankless jobs in international football. Because if you win, I think everybody just kind of expects you to win. If you don't win, everybody starts looking around and going, okay, what's the problem? And that's not to say they're not going to lose matches or have bad outings. I mean, it happens. Like they've choked away stuff before, but it needs to be what it needs to be, which is seamless. And if it's not, if anything, I think that puts maybe a little bit more pressure on the shoulders of Zidane to make sure that this continues in the way that it's going, because they're once again the favorites to win the World Cup here in 2026. I mean, I remember talking to JP Dellacamera, and you're not even done asking your question, and he's already yelling out France at you because that's
Wasn't
exactly
even a
how good this
question.
squad is. Yeah, exactly. It wasn't even, you weren't even halfway through it. And my man's already yelling at you. He's like, France, definitely France. So that's the pressure that comes with the position, but I think he's the right guy for the job.
Yeah, no, I think anyone with a brain would think he's the right man, especially for the French job, unless Arsene Wenger is coming out of retirement anytime soon. No, I wouldn't say that.
Yeah.
And what's funny to
Yeah.
me is because I just was curious. I just searched up France all-time scores. Where do you think Zidane is on the list? He's in the top 10, but where do you think he is?
Number 5.
No, he's number 7. Zidane is 7.
Mm.
Mbappe is already 6. I'm not going to try to pronounce his
Wow.
name at number 5. Benzema at 4. Michel Platini is 3. Thierry Henry 2. And again, this is still, I think, the greatest shock. Like, if you were to ever do a trivia question with a soccer casual and you were asked who the France all-time scorer is, no one would ever guess Olivier Giroud. I mean, this guy makes no sense how he leads a nation in scoring all time with all the legends that they have. I mean, Mbappe
Yeah.
is, 20,
Yeah.
24 goals away from even tying Giroud. So, I mean, I
Mm-hmm.
could see Mbappe doing it. Benzema could have the record, to be honest with you, but let's not get into why he was suspended for
Yeah.
6 years from the French national team. There's a bad reason why, but you can
Yeah.
search that. You can search
We'll
that
let
one
you
up on
Google
your
that
own.
one. Yeah. Yeah, that can be your own little
Yeah,
project.
you can search that one up
That's
on your own
funny.
on why Karim Benzema was suspended for 6 years from the French
Mm.
national team. I think it was back in 2015, 16, 14, somewhere in that time frame. And yeah, you can search that one up on your own.
Yeah. Yeah.
But no,
But I will say this beyond trophies, though, I think the biggest thing is that Adon's defining strength has been man management, player management, ego management, which is something it's extremely important, especially when you talk about world class players in a roster like France and what we've seen out of that country. And, so that I think skill will be very important because, entering another golden phase,
always a
Mbappe
golden
remains the
phase with
focal
this. That
point.
makes no sense, but
Well,
they're always in a golden phase.
it's true. It's true. But managing Mbappe and some of the other, Dembele and the other players on this team, I think the timing of all that is really important too. So I think if I'm France, that's exactly the type of manager I was looking for. So who can manage the personalities, get through to these players quickly enough to where we don't really miss out on anything, or we don't, there's no holes in this decision.
I just searched up their roster, like the French national team roster, and it just makes me more depressed as a USA men's national team fan. Like you probably have, so you have Mbappe, Dembele starting, maybe you have Ekitike, maybe you have Elise,
Yeah.
and then you just go to your bench and you have Michael Elise, who's arguably one of the best wingers in the world. Ryan Cherky plays for Man City. Then you have in your midfield, you still have an old but reliable N'Golo Kante, Rabiot, Chouameni, Kamavinga, and then you go to the back line. It's Upamecano, Kanate, Saliba. Oh my lord, this just makes you more depressed. To be honest with you, Nate, it just the French men's soccer team just feels like the USA men's basketball team.
Yeah.
Or any
Yep.
USA sport that is not soccer. There's
Yeah.
just Hall of Famers all over the place. Obviously, there's not a Hall of Fame in soccer, but it's
Yep.
some of the best players in their position, in their prime, playing.
Yep.
That just makes zero sense to me.
Yeah.
It's just annoying because
Yep.
they're so much further than us. They're so much better than us, and then we got Christian Pulisic, who wouldn't even start for them. He'd be like the third guy off the bench.
Yeah. What's funny is that you get to a point to where you get a certain class or a certain generation of players that all just come up together, and we've seen this with other countries and other sports. Like they just so happen to all hit their prime all at the same time, or they're just a little bit older, a little bit younger, and they all come together. I mean, I think my comparison is probably the Canadian hockey team from this gold medal run at the Olympics. I mean, they obviously didn't win the gold, but it's just in terms of the way they're constructed. I think in hockey, obviously, there's a lot more up to chance with deflections and weird things happening and whatever it is. But that's exactly what they are. Your only hope as the U.S. men's national team is you only have to play them once. You only have once, you only have 90 plus. If you happen to get a couple of good breaks or something else happens, then we just need that to happen a couple of consecutive times if we get to the quarterfinal of the round of 16 in order to be that Cinderella, which I know we're going to talk about that coming up here on Inside the Game. By the way, at 9,
what'd you say?
Just wanted to quickly lay this out there. At 9:30, Jonathan Turner will be joining us here on Inside the Game. We're going to talk a little bit about the NIL packages here at NSN. Actually, just recently signing one of the best the women's game has to offer here in the state of Michigan. So we're going to talk more about that at 9:30.
And the men's,
just wanted to,
or the boys,
and the men's
boys
too,
and the girls.
and the boys.
I don't know.
Boys, and girls. Yeah, exactly. But anyways, what were you going to say?
There's just, I forgot the name of the camp. That's what I was trying to search up. But there is like a, I don't want to say like a boarding school, but kind of is a boarding school where all the best young French players start out at, and when they're young, and it's that's where all the best go. And I forgot the name of it. Henri played in it. I forget what the name is, but that's just like where all the best go. And they talk about how you become a professional right then and there. Like it's unbelievable how well their development is for their national teams and all their players. Like it's really good. And I'm blanking on the name. So my apologies to the listener audience.
You're all good. But let's take a quick step aside here. When we come back, we can get into topic number 2 ahead of our conversation with Jonathan Turner. And again, as always, we wanted to tell you guys about FC Bayern Summer Soccer Camps. They are a proud sponsor of the National Soccer Network, and they foster football excellence across North America. Open to boys and girls of all skill levels, FC Bayern camps deliver elite training inspired by FC Bayern Munich's world-class philosophy. Right now, you can select your city and start a promising soccer path and save $30 on registration by using promo code BayernNSN30. Again, that's BayernNSN30. Scan the QR code on your screen. Learn more at FCBayernYouth.com.
So the dream behind Irene's was simply to be a place where the community could come and gather. This is my hometown, we're raising our family here, and we just want to be a space where people can come together as a community and share a great meal. We've got golf simulators, we got pinball, live music, trivia nights, but we also have fresh, always homemade, locally sourced food, and we serve it with a sense of Gemütlichkeit. This is a German word that conveys a sense of warmth and coziness and belonging. We're excited to show off how we're growing and that this is the place to be.
You know, JT used to always ask people on our show what their final meal would be, which I always found to be a very morbid question because, I mean, that insinuates that you're going to be dying. But I said it is an interesting question, though, and I've thought about it. And one of the things that's on my list now, at least, would be an Irene's Bavarian pretzel. So that would certainly be at least one of the items that I would have. That it just makes life worth living at the end of the day. So I'm just throwing that out there. If you want to clip that one and send it to Irene's, be like, if Nate's gonna die, he wants one of your pretzels before he dies. So just letting you know. But getting back into our conversation here in hour number 1 on Inside the Game. Let's talk a little bit about Cinderellas. I know we got JT coming up here really shortly. We can continue this conversation afterwards, unless you want to do some mailbag comments.
Are we sure we want to do mailbag, Nate?
Wait.
Are we sure
we don't have to
do a mailbag?
We don't have to touch on all the mailbag, and that was all sports mailbag. We can maybe do that one a little bit later, but we can do the soccer mailbag. That one's been a little bit more PG than the alternative. So, you know, we can get into those.
One of them wasn't.
No, well, one of them wasn't. Oh boy, on the World Cup video.
Yeah.
Is that the one? Oh, okay. All right. Well, we were talking about World Cup Cinderellas. I guess Morocco would technically be considered one. There's some people that said Norway in there that could be, although, yeah, obviously Norway is a team that's filled up with a lot of talent, but like historically speaking, I would consider Norway to be a Cinderella. And obviously Morocco, I don't want that because they beat us, and I don't want to see that anymore. I think everyone's sick of seeing Morocco, even Senegal. I think everyone's sick of Morocco everywhere around the world when it comes to football right now. Just no one wants to deal with that. But I don't know, Ryan, who would you select as your Cinderella if you were to just throw a dart at a dartboard?
Okay, are we doing mailbag or are we not doing
you're
mailbag?
not.
I'm confused.
Well,
about
okay,
what we're doing here.
I'm doing the mailbag on the Cinderella video, but all right, I
then
can choose a different one.
Do
if we
mine
want.
after we talk with John.
Okay, all right, okay, sounds good. But no, we can certainly get into some of these comments. Underneath, I was talking about the international window. Undecided jurist says Pulisic needs to find his form again. I think what's interesting is it's not just Christian Pulisic. And I think that's the important part. Like, it has to be all the different parts working together. I think Flo is we talked about. He's been doing unbelievable right now. Weston McKennie with what he's done at Juventus. I think he has a little bit more around him going into the 26 World Cup than what he had necessarily in 22, which is a good sign. That's a promising sign.
I'd agree. I would say for Pulisic, I mean, yeah, we want him to have the form that he did back in the fall. Like, that was unbelievable. Yeah. Like, we want that Pulisic, but again, that's not sustainable the way he was playing. But to say the point where you mentioned there's going to be more talent around, yeah, sure, I would agree. Again, we've gotten better, so in reality, we should have more talent around him. But at the same time, I mean, the talent at AC Milan is better than we're going to have on the men's national team. I mean, that's just the way it is. I mean, we can say Balogun's playing really well, but again, Balogun might not be in form when he comes into the World Cup. Malik Tillman might not. Tim Weah might not. So it's still a long ways to go. Yeah, we would love to see Pulisic reach that fall form or that COVID form. Like, yeah, we would love that. But at the same time, I don't know if we can actually get. I don't know if he'll ever get back to that.
Yeah, that's fair. So I under the video, I was talking about who falls off first, Messi or LeBron. I know you said the better comparison is probably Ronaldo and LeBron, but Men of Shankly Best said different sports, effing zero comparison with a couple of laughy faces. It's not the first time I've ever heard a cross sport comparison ever be made. I feel like ESPN makes it all the time, but someone else said that Messi already fell off.
Sure. I mean, sure.
Maybe, I guess. Sure, technically. I mean, I know the MLS isn't the top league in the world, but it's just outside of a top 5 league. I find it hard to say that someone fell off if they're still competing at damn near 40 years old. Even if it's not the top league in the world, you'd still have contributed 4 goals in 4 matches. And I know, it's hard with the American listener or the American consumer to talk about the MLS and be like it's anywhere near the top, but it's still impressive nonetheless, is it not? I mean, I think sometimes we downplay what Messi does in the MLS just because, well, it's Messi in the MLS, but I don't know. I don't think you can necessarily take anything too much away from what he's doing, despite the fact that it's not the most competitive league in the world.
No, the guy is still Messi. He's still the best player. Shouldn't say he's the best player in the world, but he's still the greatest player to ever play the game of soccer. The guy's still unbelievable. Yeah, just because he's in the MLS, could be different, sure. But you know what? It's still a. I would say it's starting to get considered to be a higher league, in most cases. So it's not like he's playing against a whole bunch of scrubs or the Saudi league, for crying out loud. So no, Messi's not falling off. I also think at the same time, Messi's won every single thing there is to win. So I don't think he cares that much.
Yeah. Underneath your Arsenal falls to Man City video, Arteta is bad. He's anti-football. Get us a manager who can use the players. Interesting.
I'd agree partially with that statement. He likes to park the bus in big situations. He likes to play scared. Yeah, sure. I mean, I'm not disagreeing on it. I agree with it because he does it all the time. It happens in every single big game against Man City or every cup game or every big game in the Champions League. It happens all the time. So I wouldn't say get a new manager to play free-flowing because there's a really good back line on the team, really good goalkeeping. I mean, you need that to win, a really good midfield. I mean, you still have really good forwards. It's just sometimes they're underutilized a little bit, I would say, in terms of the setup. But no, I could agree. I could get behind that one for sure.
Yoo-Hoo D-Man says, chill. Still winning the treble. I don't know what that means.
So he thinks they're still going to win the FA Cup, which are the quarterfinals.
Okay.
Still thinks they're going to win the Prem, and still thinks they're going to win the Champions League. I mean, I hope maybe that this loss helps them later on down the season. Maybe they don't want that taste in their mouth anymore. Maybe it pushes Arteta to be like, you know what? Let's actually go for it next time. Let's actually try to win this thing. Let's not play scared. Maybe it opens up his eyes a little bit. Yeah, no, I could maybe see that.
Yeah. We got JT coming on here soon. We see him yet?
Yeah, John is John, do you want to come on right now, or do you want us to go to a break? Okay, he gave us a thumbs up. All right. John Turner.
Come on.
everybody.
All right.
John
Hey.
Turner.
Hey.
There we go.
Look at me in the
Guys, how you
background.
doing this morning?
I'm like in the Matrix. What's up?
That's right.
It's Yep, that's me.
You guys good this morning?
Yes,
Doing all right,
doing
man. How are
great.
you? Welcome in. It's like old times.
I know, right? I know. I think the last time I was here, you guys were bickering about money with the World Cup in Boston, right? So it was
Yep.
a
Nope,
good
it's not in
conversation.
Break up the
Boston.
fight.
It's not in Boston. It's in Foxborough.
Well,
The people
I
of
know,
Foxborough
but
damn
wanted
it.
to know that it's not.
Gosh.
It's not in Boston.
What are you doing?
My bad. A suburb of Boston.
There you go.
I'm pretty sure it's a
All
suburb.
right. Now we're okay. All right. Now we're moving in the right direction. But we were talking a little bit this morning about NIL opportunities and what's going on at the network. So excited to hear what's going on.
Yeah. So we've been working behind the scenes over the last couple of weeks to obviously, one, make sure that we have an NIL program that we believe is competitive in the market, but more importantly, one that protects the athlete and protects us here at Premier Media Group, the National Soccer Network, and Sports Nation TV, right? And so those we've been really working hard behind the scenes with that. We've been reaching out to athletes. Athletes have been reaching out to us, and we announced here this morning our first NIL contract that's been signed by Andrew Corder. Andrew Corder is our official NIL, first ever NIL deal signed. Andrew Corder, as you know, he has a single season record at De La Salle High School, scored 38 goals last season for De La Salle, on their way to their second state championship in a row at De La Salle. They won it last year, they won it the year before that. He's on his way. He's got 71 career goals. The record at De La Salle is 74. And if you think about De La Salle is one of those programs here in Michigan that has won a lot of state championships over the years. Thayer Mukhtar is their head coach. He has done a fantastic job there. And you think about how the players have come through the pipeline there at De La Salle, and he is in really good company. He is 3 goals shy. He is going to be playing his senior season this year, so he scored 38 last year. He might be on pace to, I think it's almost a surety that he gets his record there at De La Salle. Also part of the Dream Team last year, and arguably the top, or at least I would say the top pick to win Mr. Soccer here in 2026. And so we are excited about this opportunity. He'll be doing a lot of social media for us, and we couldn't be happier about having Andrew Corder be our first NIL signing here in the history of NSN.
Well, Andrew, I'd give you 38 horns, but I think that'd be here's like 3.
Or
Yeah,
70
3 away, so there you go. You get 3.
70
some
some odd horns. Yeah, there you go.
Horns. I think John might just walk into the studio and rip the cord out, and it'd just be Nate for the rest of the show.
But just so you guys know, we have more coming, right? We're going to be announcing these in the coming days, and so we're really excited about this. Before your show this morning, I was having a conversation with a parent talking about this and sending over a contract to finalize everything. So we're really, really excited about this. And most importantly, I think it's our responsibility in this environment to not only find maybe the best, right? Because soccer is not just about the best, but everyone loves the game, right? We might find players who maybe are in their own right have a following and a love for the game that we want to go into, right? And so I don't think we have to always go after the best athlete, right? And I think that's an important thing for us to say in this world as well. Yes, we're going to have the best in like an Andrew Corder and other players like him and other players in the female side as well. But I think having players that fit into our mold of, hey, we're covering soccer. It's your home, and your home is going to come with a lot of different shapes and sizes. And I think it's important that we specify that in early going. This isn't just about the best player in the state or the best player in the country. While we'll do that, we'll do a lot of that. We want to also showcase players who are in their own right paving a way that makes sense in the game of soccer that will maybe lead them in a different direction. But nonetheless, they still love the game.
This feels weird interviewing my boss in a lot of ways, but I do have a question because
Sure.
I am curious. I know we've talked about this off screen, but obviously for the people that are watching this, they're not privy to you and me talking about it together. The other side of this is the educational component. I know that's always been something that's really important here at NSN in educating kids on not only getting them NIL opportunities, but how to conduct themselves in those spaces. And I think it's interesting because the MHSAA just now recently allowed that. And so this is kind of a new thing. I mean, how important is the educational component in getting these kids these opportunities and kind of guiding them through this process so they know how to handle that maybe when they get to the college or any other level that they're going to?
I think first and foremost, I think that one, as someone who played, we all of us played sports. All of us had moms and dads kind of pay for us to play, right? And so this is an opportunity for an athlete who's worked hard for a good chunk of their life, in most cases half their life, playing a sport they love, hours and hours on end trying to get better, traveling to and from things, compromising and missing out on opportunities. And now here's a chance for them off of all that labor, that hard work they put into this, to now be able to earn something from the sport that they love. And I think that's fantastic. And hey, I'm sure as time goes on, the regulation behind all this is going to change. And so I think the educational aspect of this is extremely important. And obviously the MHSAA has kind of created this thing where it's like, hey, we don't know. We want the athlete to benefit from this. We don't necessarily know how we're going to govern this yet. Go at it. And hopefully over time, we'll figure this thing out in real time. The great news is that we've worked with a lot of really good people behind the scenes to make sure that we're doing it right? To make sure that we are doing everything we can to make sure that we're protecting the athlete, protecting our company, and the overall what we're trying to accomplish. But our message is back to the athletes and this is something I learned a long time ago. You have to cover yourself, right? As much as we want these athletes to come into our environment, they also have to, make sure that when they sign something with us, that it's within the realm of what is they are responsible for, and more importantly, all the things that the MHSAA and the governing bodies have instituted to make sure that they are doing what they're supposed to be doing. Because it doesn't affect me. If they make a mistake, it affects them. It will probably not affect us. And I think it's important that we say that. And so we have a responsibility to make sure that we're doing right by these athletes. And so we will always do everything we can to make sure that, hey, they are doing their job and supporting and obviously what we're doing, but more importantly, making sure they're protecting themselves, because this is we just don't want to see them get in trouble over things of working with us.
Just a couple things. Schrock said hello, or he said boys, so he's saying hello to us. Hello to you too, Schrock.
Hey, what's going on, Schrock? Hey,
Schrock. By the way, here's this. Hook 'em. Anyway, I wish this existed like 5 years ago, John, because I would have been a high ticket item to be honest with you. Lots of places would be looking to have Ryan Glinsky be on.
You keep thinking that
millions.
I'd be demanding millions back in my high school playing days. Anyway, but now you got me here, so I guess I made it here.
I think Ryan would like the John Stockton of the soccer team.
Wow. Wow.
Sorry, go ahead.
Anyway, what's the process for any family or player trying to work here at NSN and be a part of the NIL program?
Yeah, so on our website, there's an actual page called NSN NIL. It's obviously available if you go to our link tree as well, the link in bio on any of our social media. There'll be a page they can click on. It takes them right to the page. And it explains to them what we're doing. The article from Andrew's release is already there this morning on there. And it gives them all the information. And then more importantly, allows them to schedule a meeting with me, a one-on-one, where we get a chance to talk with them and have an understanding of what it is that we're trying to accomplish. If we feel like this is a good fit, then we'll move through the next steps. But it all starts with that meeting.
And is there a certain type of profile of player that you're looking for? I know you said that there's not a specific, the most talented player, which I think it's good to obviously give opportunities to players that maybe aren't at the top of that list. Is there a certain profile that we're looking for, though, or really just anyone who's open to the opportunity?
I think players that are forward-thinking, right? Players that see the bigger picture, who are actively right now out there trying to showcase to the world who they are in a responsible way, right? We know we live in a world of social media. We know we live in a world where everything is on display 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Managing that in this world is very difficult. And I think the players that are out there doing that responsibly are the ones that make the most sense for us initially. And then from there, I'm pretty sure that our profiles and things that we're looking for to help grow what we're doing. Because the whole point of this is to grow us and at the same time grow them, right? Me and Ryan were just talking about this yesterday. I mean, last week alone, our network in totality did just under 1 million total views, right? So everything in 1 week was 1 million views, right? Yeah. And so they're coming into an environment where we already have national, exposure. We want to help grow that with them, and we want them to help us grow it on a smaller, more grassroots type environment. That's what NIL is all about. It's more grassroots. It's taking this environment where we used to put them on a commercial on TV and showcase them. Now it's like we're going to them in their environment. We're attracting their fan base to come be a part of what we're doing, right? And I think that that's really cool about what the NIL experience is going to be about, especially for things like what we're doing.
Schrock said the merch would go crazy for Ryan's NIL deal. I mean, I would agree, Schrock. I would.
Yeah. Well, and the cool thing too is we've developed a merch. We have merch, and obviously we have not pushed it a ton because part of me is in this chair every day goes, man, who would want to wear a logo NSN? Like I don't know if I see a lot of people walk around with an ESPN shirt on, right? I mean, no. And if they got it, it's probably because it came as part of a bundle from something they bought from something else, right? Like it came with like their TV guide or something. There was a special discount they got or something, or a freebie. Like who walks around? Who's going to go on ESPN's website and buy an ESPN? I don't know if that's a thing. So we've always tried to kind of build merchandise that we think would be something you would want to wear that would maybe have our logo in a small part of your shirt, and then something else is there that's more prominent. And so we are developing the merchandise that we think makes the most sense for for our viewers and for our fan base. And I'm happy to announce that we will be doing our own actual shirt designing here in studio starting next week, and actually finishing off those products here as well. We have purchased all of the equipment to do our own screen printing here here on site. And so that way, if you order something off the website, you order it, we could have it done that same day and shipped to you same day. And so we're really excited about it. It also gives the opportunity to the athletes who come in here as well to have their merchandise created on the spot, and then off they go as well. And so we're really, really excited about that.
So outside of merch, are there any other perks, or is that kind of just is there anything else with these perks?
I mean, about the athlete itself? Or are you talking about? Yeah, I mean, the athlete obviously is compensated for what they do, right? So that's important. Obviously, I'm not going to go into detail about the compensation aspect of this, but yeah, they make money. I mean, and so there's opportunities for them to make money in a lot of different places. The athletes that we're working with we're looking for them to make short form videos for our social media. So they'll make 30 to 60 second videos on our platform, and then we'll post that. They'll reshare it. And then more importantly, our player profiles. Like we've talked about the player profiles and how we go out, we write articles and we showcase players. We did that for Maddie Bernard here earlier this week or last week. She's going to Lisbon, Portugal here this Thursday. And we wrote an article about her, and it's a profile. A great article, by the way. I think if you haven't read it, you need to go read it. But we could do that for players across this country. To dedicate someone in our news division to write an article for an athlete, it's time, it's money, it's energy, and we want to showcase players in a very positive way. And the cool thing is that because of the exposure that we've created for our network and all the views that we get, when we post an article about somebody, if you Google that person's name, they typically show up on the first page of Google with our news article. And so the exposure. So if a coach is going to go Google that player to find out information, they're going to see a news article from us. More often, they're going to see it from somebody else. And I think that's an important thing to also state as we go through this process.
Schrock agrees with you, John. He says most merchandise would be more team or podcast specific. I agree with you on that. So, all right, John, before we let you go, we know you're a really busy person. We just got to ask this question. Last meal, what are you eating?
Last meal.
That was your signature back in the day, man. That was your question.
I know. I mean,
I forget.
So I forget the name of this restaurant, but this was back 2008. I was in Cincinnati, Ohio, and it was a brothel turned into a steakhouse. So I don't know. It's like the Pink. I think it was at the Pink House or something like that. But it was a surf and turf. It brought out a filet mignon with the lobster tail and asparagus and all the fixings for that. It was the best steak I've ever had in my entire life. And I don't know if that restaurant still exists. I think it was called the Pink House or the Pink Restaurant. But again, it was a brothel turned into a steakhouse. And it was phenomenal. My go-to is always a steak and a lobster tail. If your last meal, that's what it would be.
Yeah.
I do like other things, but that's my last meal. And then since I do have diabetes, but if it's my last meal, I'm totally gonna eat. There's this like Dutch apple pie, but it's in Port Huron.
Yeah.
Unbelievable, the best Dutch apple pie you'll ever have, and it is to die for. I would totally go to I would die for that. So
yeah, that's a really damn long round trip for your last meal. You got a couple of different places you got to go to. I knew you were gonna say steak though, right? Ryan, the first time we walked into a restaurant together, me and JT, he's standing in front of the steaks that are like displayed, and he's like, "I want that one." And they're like, "No, you go sit down. You can order your steak." No, but he's like, you don't understand. I want that one. And I'm like,
that's Texas Roadhouse, my guy. And they give you a ticket. They give you a ticket at Texas Roadhouse. You pick your steak.
Have you ever seen the show Parks and Rec?
Yep.
You feel like Ron Swanson, John, when it comes to food.
No. I mean, I'm not gonna walk into Whole Foods and be like, "Let me try that fake bacon," and then throw it in the garbage. I might try it. I'm not gonna.
What the exact example I was gonna use was, I want all your bacon. I repeat, I want all your bacon. I don't want some of it. I don't want a little bit. I want it all. Schrock said his meal would be Ruth's Chris medium steak with mashed potatoes.
Yeah, I've had Ruth's Chris's. It's not the best though.
Ooh,
I wouldn't say. Yeah, I'd say that.
I've had Ruth's Chris's.
Pretty close.
Yeah, I used to work at a chop house in college, and so I could eat steak anytime I wanted to, and that great steak there as well. But if you're saying, hey, my last meal, this was the best meal I ever had. What was there? And the best part about it, you don't have to pay for it. And I've eaten at like Morton's in Chicago. I've eaten at some really good steakhouses over the year. That was by far the best one I've ever had. So,
well,
guys, we have another huge announcement coming here. By the way, I got to say this: we have another huge announcement.
No.
To premise this is the biggest announcement that we will ever make in the history of our company.
I just want to say, John will be back on the show at some point here. He's going to be like,
yes, it is the biggest announcement that we will have ever made in the history of our company. It's 5 years in the making.
Dang.
And a lot of hours. It is a done deal. There's no it's signed, sealed. We have a contract in place. We are doing all the legwork right now. We are just kind of coordinating when we're going to announce this. But this is the biggest news to ever happen to our company, and we couldn't be more excited about it. And I'm hoping that I can come on here again tomorrow or maybe the next day and talk about it.
Go, John. Attaboy.
All right. Well, that's a good that's a damn good tease on the way out. We'll give you that. So
the biggest news in the history of our company. Nothing is bigger than this, but yeah.
That's awesome. But now that everyone knows where to get the best steak and apple pie, where can they find more information about the NIL stuff? Just one last time here before we talk to you tomorrow.
Yeah, nationalsoccernetwork.com. Just along the top of the page there, you'll see NSN NIL. Just click on that, and it'll follow that process.
Okay.
Awesome. Appreciate you stopping by, boss man.
Thank you very much, guys. Great stuff. As always, keep going. Did you guys know this? You guys are up over 8,000 viewers a day right now on Roku.
Damn.
8,000
live viewers.
Wow.
That's right. So you guys are
So,
rocking and rolling.
That's awesome.
Is that good or bad?
I think that's all right. I mean,
considering once upon a time it was 2. I mean, 2, right? I mean, so you're rising obviously on YouTube. YouTube. I mean, and YouTube's not been our focus, and you guys know that hasn't been our focus for the last couple of years. We were just we want to grow Roku, and so it wasn't our focus. But Ryan and you and Nathan doing what you've been doing as far as clipping and doing all that, we've seen that steadily rise. I think the show right now is averaging well over 75 viewers an episode. We're seeing in the last few weeks well over 100 to 150 in most cases, upwards of 200. And so the show is rapidly growing, and it couldn't be a better time to do that.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, we
great
appreciate
stuff,
you as always. And it's been a long journey. We got to air that first episode one of these days, maybe a little rerun just to see how far we've come.
I've listened to it, and John's green screen went away after 10 seconds.
I'm whispering over here.
Nate was like quiet, like he looked sad. He was like, yeah, I just feel like the timing was pretty good on the show. Like, yeah, I was just really happy to finally do this thing. And I'm like, this is the most unenergetic show.
Oh, man. Oh, wow. We'll talk to you later, though, JT.
All right, see you, John. I'll see you in like 5 seconds.
Peace. Oh, good stuff. As always. So get in on those NIL opportunities. Some exciting stuff here on the National Soccer Network. Let's dip out for a moment. When we come back, we'll continue that Cinderella conversation as well as take a look at some kits coming out for the World Cup. All that and more on the other side here on Inside the Game.
Experience the thrill of the game like never before with NSN's Game Rewind. Dive into full match commentaries enhanced with cutting-edge dynamic graphics, letting you relive the highs and lows of your favorite matches in astonishing detail. Whether it's a championship win or a legendary play, NSN Game Rewind bridges the past and future with a broadcast experience designed to captivate. Call 586-304-4405 and start watching today.
Inside the Game rolls along here on this Tuesday. Nate Wangler back alongside Ryan Glinsky here for this conversation. Just got done talking about the NIL opportunities here at NSN and some big-time news coming up down the line, the biggest in our company's history. I think Ryan and I obviously both kind of know what exactly that is, but some really exciting stuff nonetheless. And this summer is going to be a fun stretch and a company that obviously continues to – yeah, exactly. Well, it's going to be everything wrapped in one. And me too, with working in baseball and everything else and World Cup. Yeah, it's going to be nonstop. And that's the thing about sports. It never does stop. It just keeps going and going and going and going. And so
John's
we'll
not
be here
on the screen anymore, but Schrock thought that the Xbox in the background is iconic. Schrock, that is actually a fridge. That is not actually an Xbox. It is an Xbox fridge.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's actually used for anything anymore, but it's actually an Xbox fridge. It's not an actual console.
They got some unique stuff. What I really liked is the video of you
my
and
dad's
me
in the
talking
Instagram
on
chat.
this
What's up, Dad?
podcast.
Hopefully,
in the
hopefully
back.
you're working hard.
Oh,
Hopefully you're working hard.
what's
not
up, Pops?
actually, just messing around. What's up, Dad? Good morning to you.
Mr. Glinsky. What does he have to say? Just hello?
No, I just
Not
saw him
tearing you
pop
apart
into
yet?
the Instagram, like as I
Oh,
flipped back
literally
to the Instagram,
pop into the
his
chat.
name
Okay,
just
all
got
right.
in there. So
You just got to put
he
him
might
on the
be-
spot then.
he might be texting something probably smart here. I don't know if he is. But he says hello. He says hello, boys.
Oh, all right.
What's up, Dad?
All right. What's going on? Appreciate you dropping by, though. And you, Shraki, as always, just in time. But I know, Ryan, we were talking about this a bit before we talked to Jonathan Turner. Cinderellas in the World Cup. Now, again, Morocco probably would have qualified as a Cinderella. There have been massive upsets in this tournament before. Would not be the first time. Now, I know I asked you a little bit earlier. You didn't want to spoil it before we got into the topic. But who would your Cinderella be looking forward to 2026? Who do you think the dark horse might be in this tournament?
So I actually did some critical thinking on this one. All right. I actually did some like scenarios and all that stuff. And I have come to the conclusion for a team. All right. Comes out of Group B. And there is technically still not one team involved yet. Where are they at? So there could still potentially be a team that gets in. I think it would be Denmark anyway. I think Denmark would be the team that gets into this group. But it's going to come from Group B. I'm picking Switzerland to be a dark horse. Let me paint the picture a little bit better for you. So, all right, easy group, I would say. Qatar, Canada. Yeah, Canada might be with the host nation. Maybe they're a little bit of a dark horse themselves, but I still don't think so. When you score one goal in the World Cup in the last one, no, you're not that good. And then two, Switzerland does not have to play them in the first game. So I think that eliminates a little bit of something, kind of that, because in the first game of the World Cup with the host nation, they always they get a result just because it's the first game, host nation, yada yada yada, whatever. So then I think about that. I go, okay, so what happens if they win a Group B, or if they win Group B, they finish first? So they're going to play a third place side. Most likely that's going to be a victory, I would say. So then we get to, okay, well, who could they play in the round of 16? So the winner of Group K, which is Portugal or Colombia, I think they would match up pretty well with a Portugal or a Colombia. And to be honest with you, it would probably be Portugal. And to be honest with you, Nate, Portugal does not truly scare me all that much. And then we get over to who could they potentially play in the quarterfinals? Maybe in Argentina. You could also maybe a Uruguay. Maybe if they finish second. Maybe they can get a United States if they get that far. Maybe. Which would be if they finish second in the group, and then second in the group in Group G, which would most likely be probably Australia. But to get to play in Argentina in the quarterfinals, Argentina's got to win their group, and they also have to win 2 games. So I'm thinking here. My dad said, just spoke with the Real Sociedad boys. They are getting ready for the Copa del Rey. Yeah, Pellegrino Matarazzo in the United States. He's got the boys going there with Real Sociedad for sure. But then I looked at a couple results. What has Switzerland done? What have they done in recent games? Well, they've played a ton of talent. Last year in 2025, they beat Northern Ireland, Luxembourg, Mexico, obviously thrashed us 4-0. And they beat Slovenia, Kosovo, Sweden, Slovenia, Sweden again, and they drew with Kosovo. So I'm like, okay, they win quite a bit. Then I go back to the Euros. Okay, they lost to England on penalties, so they went the distance. But they beat Italy, drew with Germany, beat Hungary, and then drew with Scotland. So this is a pretty good side, I would say. They're 18th in the world right now, and I still think that this could be my Cinderella, my dark horse. And this is why I classify them as potentially a Cinderella. They're 18th in the world. No one really talks about Switzerland soccer. They actually beat 2010 Spain in the World Cup. No one actually knows that, but they actually beat 2010 Spain in the group stage. So that's going to be my Cinderella. I think it's Switzerland because no one talks about them a ton. They're outside the top 15, but they're still a good side. They're capable of winning games against big sides. but I'm rocking with Switzerland in being my Cinderella.
Laid out a lot of good points there. I didn't do any critical thinking as it came to this. I only drank the Kool-Aid. This ain't Kool-Aid, but, it may as well be. Because you know what I'm doing? United States is going to be my Cinderella. They are the Cinderella in 2026. The script has already spoken it into existence. The script is out, and it's happening now, and I'm not saying it's fixed, but damn it, here's a couple of reasons. Number one, home soil. All right, we're playing in front of all of our own people, all the family, all the friends, all the cousins, all the aunts, all the uncles, all the grandmothers, all the grandfathers, even the great-grandparents might find their way out to the game. Dog walkers, their cousins, hamsters, the second cousin is going to be there. They're all going to be there. Everybody screaming, yelling, having a good time, drunk out of their mind probably, all right? That's an important part to mention because they're going to be fired up, all right? Red, white, and blue all over the place. 70,000 screaming their heads off. How about 4 more years of seasoning? We didn't like what we did in 22, all right? We left some unfinished business out there against England, all right? We should have beaten those guys so we could officially say, hey, it's called soccer, you dorks, and you have to call it soccer until the next World Cup because we beat you. I'm sorry. So we should have done that, all right? 4 more years. We're grown up now, all right? We're all grown up, all right? We're big boys. We graduated. 4 years is a lot, man. That's like a college term. You learn a lot in college, all right? A lot of hard lessons, a lot of good lessons, a lot of things you're like, shouldn't put that in my body, in the future. You learn a lot of things in college, and you learn a lot of things 4 years between one World Cup to the next, all right? So we've learned a lot. We've grown up. They're doubted, all right? They know they're hated by everybody. No one thinks they have a chance. You know what Alexi Lala said? We have the second best fan base in international football, and I agree with that, Ginger. I really do. I think he's onto something there. I think Alexi Lawless is onto something there. We're the best, man. We're the best at everything. We're going to be the best at this, and we're taking over soccer in 2026. We are Cinderellas. Christian Pulisic, he is. There's like Messi, and then just underneath there's Christian Pulisic. It's pretty close. He's closing the gap, So I'm thinking Pulisic, the hip flexor is not going to bother him. He's going to be perfectly healthy. He's going to run through the competition. He's going to score a bunch of goals. Weston McKennie. This dude, what can't the dude do? We could put him out there, goalkeeper. I'm sure he'd probably be able to do that too. What a guy. That's why.
Like in college,
yeah,
that was a horrible goal that he gave up in college and this last weekend.
Yeah, Flo Balogun. This guy. What a guy. We've already talked about it 800 times. The midfield. Chris Richards. I think we got the best back line, dude. I think you're poo-pooing this team. I think the MLS has got a lot of talent. I think they're about to show it off this summer.
Tim Ream's 35-year-old legs ain't catching up with Lamine Yamal or anybody like that. He's going to be cooked. He's going to be doing the Darren Peterson in 10 minutes into the game.
USA. USA.
The people are loving it.
I'm going with us, man.
The people are loving it. My dad says, attaboy, Nate. I'm with you. America.
Yeah.
Trot goes, Nate trying to speak it into existence. Preach. So the people
I'm hearing eagle screeches in all of it. I'm just hearing it. What the hell's a kilometer? I don't know. I don't know what that is.
Dad, tell the Spaniards at work Max Dowman's the English Lamine Yamal. That'll get them going over there.
Yep.
But no, I think Spain's going to make a deep run anyway. But okay.
Kevin Sullivan's the best young soccer prospect in the world. So we can put that whole thing to bed. Kevin Sullivan.
15?
End of story.
No, he's 16.
He's 16. I think he's 16. No, listen, in all seriousness, do I expect the U.S. to be a Cinderella? No. I think a round of 16 would be awesome. And frankly, if they're able to find a way past whoever they face, and you've laid it out before, Ryan, there's a very realistic chance that we end up facing off against a team in the round of 16 that is very beatable. Because again, the group is manageable. It seems like the path has been carved at least enough for this team to have a realistic chance, and we do expect better than what we saw in 22. If we get bounced out in the group stage, there's gonna be some serious frustrations.
This could just be cinema. So if we were to win Group D, we'd play the third best team in BEFIJ, and who could be the third team in Group B? Canada. Just saying, putting it out there. And then we would play, if we win that, we then play another third-place team, and then the first-place team in Group G, which would be Belgium, Egypt, Iran, and Australia. We're talking about if we played Iran, how crazy that would be in the first two games. But joking aside. And then you get to the quarterfinals, you'd play probably the best team in Group H, I would say, which would most likely, I would say, probably Spain or Uruguay. And then you look at the second place team in K or L, which I'm thinking would probably be Colombia, maybe Croatia. So again, Spain would have to play a couple good sides to even to get there. And again, we'd have to win. But third place team, and then we'd play the first place team most likely in Group G. And again, this isn't the Belgium of 2014. This is not Eden Hazard running around. This isn't Romelu Lukaku. Lukaku might still be playing, but I forget. But he ain't the same. He's not the same Lukaku. Courtois in that still, so he'd be tough to beat. But again, this isn't Vincent Kompany on this team either. This isn't Toby Alderweireld, Jan Vertonghen, Thomas Vermaelen. It's not all those guys. It's not prime Kevin De Bruyne. This is like Leandro Trossard and Jeremy Doku. That's what the Belgian team is. I like our chances against this Belgium, not 2014 Belgium, because that was prime Belgium, them in 2018.
Yeah.
But I like our chances of being a Cinderella. I guess we would I would say, we talked about it yesterday, would quarterfinals be a Cinderella run? I don't know, because we've been preaching that I think the quarterfinals is the ceiling. So I still think a semifinal could be that. I think so. But again, at the same time, I got to see who we beat and how it all looks at the same time. Because if we're just parking the bus for 90 minutes, we nick a 1-goal game, or we just force a shootout and we win, maybe. But again, if we hold our own, I don't really know if it'd be a Cinderella.
Yeah, and I mean, another side I look at, I think Japan would be another team that you could certainly put in there as being. I mean, I know they're good, but
Japan was going to be one of my other teams.
I mean, they beat both Spain and Germany, and they beat both Spain and Germany in 2022. I mean, they're technically really sharp. They're, I know I feel like a lot of their key players were out in the international friendly they played against us, but Japan could be a very serious contender that I don't think a lot of people are actually taking all that serious. Morocco could be another one, just because I feel like they've found a way to win high leverage games in big situations. I know they have elite defensive structure. I know this is a side that obviously has faced a lot of criticism with all the AFCON garbage that's going on, but they're still really good. Senegal could be another one, I think, in my mind, and obviously I think Croatia could be a good choice too. I think they certainly have a tournament DNA.
The only knock I have on Japan for making a run here is if they were to finish first in the group. Again, they still got to overcome the Netherlands. If they were to finish first in the group, over a couple scenarios, they'd play 2C, which would most likely be Brazil or Morocco. If they were to finish second in Group F, they would play the winner of Brazil and Morocco most likely. So that's a very tough round of 32 draw, I would say. So maybe their best luck is just finishing third in the group and hoping they come up against a little bit of weaker. That'd be my only knock on Japan. But again, I think they're a very underrated soccer nation, to be honest with you, Nate, because their technical ability and some of their technical drills that I've seen, their technical sessions, it's unbelievable. It's nothing. It's like Japan and China are so good at like the really small stuff, like the really synchronized things,
the details.
It takes like. The little things is what I'm saying. They're not as an athletic nation outside of Yao Ming. They're not like a very physical, athletically.
That's why someone like Otani is such a unicorn, because it's like they don't make them that damn big out there. Normally they don't. But so when you combine the technical ability with the size, it's like, holy hell, this guy can do everything.
It's so like they're so technically gifted, and it's like, well, if we're not, and props to them too. Like, we're not physically demanding. We're not a physical, athletic country. So what's a way we can try to win things? Be really good at the small things. Schrock says I got a dip for training video recording this morning, but hoping to either listen on the way or for sure back tomorrow. Schrock, we appreciate all the time you have.
Yeah,
appreciate
always.
All the time you give us, all the comments. Really appreciate it, Schrock. Good luck with your training video recording. Speak well. I don't know. Like, my parents always say, play hard, play fast.
Speak well.
Speak hard, speak fast, speak clearly. You do you, Schrock.
Heck yeah. But no, I mean, yeah, you make a lot of good points too. And it's funny because I know I jokingly poked at that list from Alexi Lawless, which I swear sometimes he's just rage baiting, which I know his shtick. I know what he does, which is like, it's what makes him entertaining. It's the whole Stephen A thing, right? If you're a character, you're going to get more eyes. And that's just kind of how he is. So I don't necessarily agree that we have a top 5 international fan base or really even a top 10. But what I will say is he did put Japan in his top 5. And I will say, I would agree. I think they're another really passionate culture when it comes to the sport of football slash soccer. I just think sometimes we don't think about it in terms of what we see here in the U.S. because obviously the biggest name in terms of, the Japan is Shohei Ohtani. So I think a lot of times we focus on what they do in baseball, but we forget that their soccer culture is still very much alive and well.
Real quick, we'll probably take a break here for a second. Real quick, before we get into the kits. I just looked at Croatia's path. Dude, I think you're onto something there. Because I think, because their group is England, Ghana, Panama. I think they will top their group over England. It's not a hot take. I just think England will suck this year. I just do. Especially with Southgate gone. For some reason, this makes zero sense to me, England. This makes zero sense to me. You were so pissed at the manager that did nothing but great things for you. He got you to 2 Euro finals, which I don't know the last time you guys ever did that before 2020 or 2021, whatever you want to call it. And he got you to 2 World Cup semifinals. Couldn't tell you the last time you did that. You've only won 1 World Cup back in 1966, okay? So you were mad at that. So now you bring in Tuchel. Again, phenomenal players all over the place, but for some reason they never bring it together. So I think Croatia tops Group L, which would then put them in, where was it? Okay, 3rd place team, probably take care of them. And then 1A, which would probably be the best team out of Group A. Mexico or Korea Republic. Mm-hmm. I'm taking Croatia. And then you come up into the quarterfinals against potentially the winner of Group C, which would be Brazil or maybe Morocco. I'm telling you, Croatia, I think you're onto something. I think that'd be, again, I don't know if that'd be a Cinderella, but again, I think they got a really favorable path, to be honest with you.
I think topping the group over England would be considered not what's supposed to happen, right? Like an upset. Based off of where FIFA puts the two sides. So, I mean, I understand that there very realistically could be a path, but I would categorize that maybe not the biggest Cinderella we've ever seen, but certainly one. You want to dive into home kits, or you want to take a break first?
Let's take a break first. And all
right.
Yeah, we got Barcelona Academy, Academy to talk about still. So
yes, sir. Barca Academy, proud sponsor of the National Soccer Network and the official academy of FC Barcelona in the United States. Designed for boys and girls ages 6 to 18, Barca Academy camps follow and replicate the FC Barcelona game model. Same philosophy used by Barca's professional coaching staff. Right now, you can save $30 on registration by using promo code FCB30. Again, that's FCB30, or scan the QR code on your screen. Find a camp near you at fcbarcelona.us/camps.
In Barca Camp, I sing my song Grown on and off of the field. Don't miss the time to register.
Sign up now for Barca Camp.
The National Soccer Network presents the MLIS and WMLIS Finals weekend. 8 teams battling for a championship at the Orleans Arena in Las Vegas, Nevada. Don't miss the excitement March 28th and 29th as the top indoor soccer teams compete for the title. Watch every match live and exclusively on the National Soccer Network.
You can watch us Inside the Game, 9 to 11 a.m. weekdays here on the National Soccer Network as we welcome you back in. Everybody joining us in the live chat or wherever you're watching us here today on Roku or on YouTube. Again, you can find us on social media at National Soccer Network or Sports Nation TV. Again, that's sports with a Z. Getting into some of the home kits here in 2026 that were just released for the World Cup. I know we got to get into all sports content, but I did want to touch on this because there's some pretty cool ones, and Orion was busy putting this graphic together and giving us a look at some of these. But let's take a look at who wears it the best. You're going into the 26 World Cup.
Yeah, so this will be the first one. Again, there's 3 different slides because of how many damn teams are in this thing. We'll be doing the away ones. I just kind of ran out of time coming into the show. We'll do the away ones at some point. We'll do the Nike ones and the Puma ones. But this is the home Germany, Italy, Japan, Mexico, Northern Ireland, Portugal, and Qatar jerseys. And I just got to say, I'm loving the Japan and Italy jerseys. I just love that blue. I think it's crispy.
Yeah.
Germany keeping it classy like they always do. I forget what – that's like old Jurgen Klinsmann 80s, 90s feel for Germany. Mexico, always putting some stupid design on it. Again, they get too cute with their jerseys. They always do some stupid design on the jersey. Guys, you already got a great color scheme. Just keep it. Northern Ireland, fire. Portugal, same old, and then Qatar, fire as well. We'll give our top 3 probably at some point.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to disagree with you on one of those. I think Mexico's is freaking cool, and I think the design actually has some cultural significance. Now I don't know what the cultural significance is, so that's why I don't that. But man, I love it. I mean, the patch to the left, I think the way it's spaced out is good with the numbers. I like the stripes and the pattern around the sleeves. Nah, man. I mean, if I had any heritage to me, I would be getting one of those tomorrow. So no, I think those are pretty tight. I do like Japan's though too. I like the color scheme. Like it gets like lighter in the middle where like the patches with the Adidas above it. So just the blue itself, I think is cool. I think Italy's kits are signature. I think they're vintage. They have to start winning games again to make people realize how cool they look doing it. Yeah, exactly. So anyways, go ahead.
All right. Next one, we got Algeria. Argentina, it's always going to be the same. Iconic then you got Belgium, really good looking one as well. Brazil, the iconic blue and yellow, which fun fact, Nate, they actually changed their colors because they were so bad. It's considered the greatest tragedy in Brazil history. Also sports as well. Like this is like the greatest tragedy ever. They actually changed their colors to this after I think the 56 World Cup or 54 World Cup when they choked against Uruguay at home. They changed their colors to this and they've stuck with it ever since. Colombia, England, France. So I'm a sucker for the baby blue, and Argentina always going to be one of my top favorites.
Yeah.
England, much better than years past. I like the red trim on the side there, and then France. Whew, I would probably do without the collar, but I mean that's crispy. To be honest with you, Nate, this slide there's not a bad jersey. To be honest with you,
no, there isn't a single one. I think France's is that's tight. And I actually kind of like the collar a little bit. It makes you think that like you could actually wear a football uniform or a jersey and actually make it look formal somehow, because that's kind of what that looks like. It looks like he's wearing a polo. Oh my goodness! But that mix between the blue and the black and the Nike swoosh and how it's spaced out. That's a good look. I like the mix. What I will say about Argentina though, and I've always said that I like schools, teams, programs, clubs, whoever it is, that I like tradition a little bit when it comes to uniforms. Because again, if you keep the same one and you're good in those uniforms, it makes those unis classic. You know, like I think about now, mind you, this team has done a lot of winning, but also they've done a lot of choking in big scenarios. And I know you don't like their uniforms. I know, and nobody does. Everybody hates it. That's Penn State in the Big Ten. I love it. I love it, love it. How simple, straightforward. I love the solid colors. I don't know. People hate on it, but I like tradition in that way. And so, but obviously the Argentinian colors are signature. But no, I think that those France unis are tight, man.
If my dad was still tuned into the show, he'd agree with you with the Penn State uniforms. You think it's like the greatest thing ever. I'm like, dude, it's so boring. Last slide here. Dude. Again, just Adidas home jerseys. We'll do a little bit more. Well, I will, after the show today, I'll put up the slides for the rest of them for tomorrow with the away ones. We can get in the Nike ones. I think Puma's out as well. But, yeah, this is the last slide we got. Again, I don't know who the top left. Oh, Northern Ireland. That's what it is. Northern Ireland, Scotland, South Africa. They're going back to their whole 2010 look. Spain, Sweden. Then we got Switzerland, Ukraine, and Wales. First thoughts. This is probably the worst slide, to be honest with you. I'm not a big fan of the Northern Ireland ones. Not a fan of the Scottish ones. And again, that's always been their look. Never been a fan of it. South Africa, not my type of style. Spain, I think could have done a little bit better, to be honest with you, Nate. I think they could have. I think Belgium's is a little bit better. But the rest of them, they're just kind of meh.
I do like the Scottish kit. I like that blue. I like the stripes. Is it the best I've seen? No. The Northern Ireland one, I guess I don't understand what the like things are that they have on the uniform. I like that green. Don't get me wrong, but what is it that's all over the uni? I'm not sure. But yeah, I mean, I think the Switzerland red is cool, but I think it's just kind of basic, to be honest with you.
It's very 2022
vibes.
Probably
probably the worst of all the slides. But I don't think the Scotland bad is one. I would still rep that one.
So, let's want to do top 5 real quick, or top 3 jerseys.
All right.
So, all right. I'm going to go. So, I'm not going to go in any particular order because I got to pick them first. I would say Italy's on that list. I would say, I'd probably say Japan's on there too. I do like the Japan ones. And then where's this one? I think the rest of the 3 will be on this one. I think Argentina's in there. I think Belgium's in there. And I'm not a green guy, mainly because of Michigan State, but like the Algeria ones are pretty. I would say the France one would be in there.
Yeah.
But I do not like the collar at all. Like if they were to take again, that's always like the French look though. They always had the collar on. That's just kind of their look. But if they did not have that collar in there, that is probably number 1. But if I were to pick a number 1 right now, at the top of my head, it would be Argentina. But no, I got Belgium, Argentina, Algeria, and then I got Italy and Japan. I just like the navy blue look, man. That's not a Michigan thing either. I've always liked the navy blue. It's always crispy. I was always kind of jealous of Chelsea low key.
Yep. I'll go with my top 3. I mean, number 3, I do genuinely really like those Mexico kits. I think those are really freaking cool. Now, again, I don't know what the cultural significance is behind the design. Probably has something to do with forget what the
pyramids,
the main
Aztec pyramids.
Yeah, that's something along those lines. So I'm assuming that's probably what it is. Number 2, I would go Japan. I think that blue is so cool, and I like the shading on the kit. I was talking about that with the USA away kits, how they have kind of like the shading going on with the stars all over it. I thought that was really tight, really cool with their away kits. They did a really good job with that. Yeah, and shout out the men's national team players who actually got involved in those conversations to make that happen because they did a really good job. So I'll go Mexico, Japan, and then number 1, I gotta go with France, man. I mean, I know that the collar might look a little bit weird to certain people, but I just think the color scheme that they do have is great. I thought they blended it perfectly. They're the best team in the tournament, and I guess it's probably pays to look the coolest at the same exact time. No, I know the collar can be a little unique, maybe a little weird, but again, I think it is from just a mere color scheme perspective. There's so much to like about it. So I'll go with that's my top 3, but not bad. I know there's about 8 million teams in the tournament in totality. I heard you kind of crashing out a little bit about how many you had to cut up just because of how many teams there are. But
So
no, this is a good list.
So the meaning behind the Mexico World Cup jerseys, I put them back on. The cultural meaning behind Mexico jerseys is deeply rooted to its nation's rich history and identity. The jerseys feature the Aztec-inspired designs that reference the
That's
ancient
what I was going to say,
civilizations.
Aztec.
The feathered serpent motif known as Quetzalcoatl is a prominent symbol of transformation and power woven into the fabric of the jersey. The color green, red, and bone white reflects the Mexican flag and fighting spirit of the nation. The cultural textures mimics artwork and infusing every detail with meaning and identity. These jerseys are not just worn on the field, they're carried into every chant, cheer. There's a saying on the back that says Somos Mexico, phrase on the back emphasize the identity and passion of Mexican football supporters. The jerseys are a testament to the nation's cultural heritage and deep pride that fans and players alike have in their country. So we were right on this one, the Aztecs. So yeah, it's better than the fighting pandas they had back in like 2022, 2021 time frame. Those were ugly.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. But no, I mean we got a lot of cool ones. So we'll continue our look around those and looking at the rest of those kits and giving you guys an idea of what's up coming up on the World Cup. By the way, keep a lock on our social media with Ryan's countdown to the World Cup and his World Cup moments. We'll have one of those each and every single day. So looking forward to whatever one comes out today. But that wraps up our soccer portion of the conversation. Thanks to our boss, JT, who I think is actively watching our show right now. Thanks, boss man, for dropping by the show and talking about all the NIL stuff.
Nah,
coming up
like
next, let's get into.
I don't know if he's watching.
Oh, he is. Oh, okay, he's yapping at the moment. All right.
Yeah.
Well, he'll see that back a little bit later. But let's get into our all sports content on the other side of this conversation. First, we'll tell you about Man City Soccer Camps, a proud sponsor of the National Soccer Network, bringing world-class training inspired by Man City's global football philosophy to players across the United States. Open to boys and girls of all skill levels. These camps focus on technical development, decision-making, and playing the game the City way. Right now, you can save $30 on registration by using promo code MCNSN30. Again, that's MCNSN30, or scan the QR code on your screen. Find a camp near you, USA, camps.mancity.com. Inside the Game rolls along here into hour number 2. I guess we're already well into hour number 2, aren't we? Let's get into our all sports content here as we hit 10:30 on episode 256. Ryan, we are living on the edge yet again as it comes to the Detroit Red Wings. It was so comfortable for so long. It has now come down to a stretch in which we need to win, and not just win, but win in regulation and win convincingly, which is something this franchise has proven that they cannot do over the course of the last decade. It has been hard, and we are once again in that position again with must wins in front of us. But
Can I just say,
yeah, it's getting spooky out here.
real quick before we dive deeper into the Red Wings, what is it up with this city and our pro sports teams where they start off hot and then just suck to end the year? Like the Lions were 6-2 once this year, and then they finished 9-8, and then so they finished 3-5 to end the year, 3-6 to end the year.
Yeah.
So that happens, and then we have the Tigers last year, that epic collapse, 15.5 game lead or whatever it was, and they don't even win the division. Then we have the Red Wings it felt like they were going to make the playoffs, and now they're out of the playoffs, so that sucks. And the Pistons, again, they're still winning, but they've hit a little bit of a lull. They did beat the Lakers yesterday, but again, I still have a couple things about that game. But I don't know, man. I just don't know what it's with this city and how we suck at the end of seasons, heading into the playoffs, or we just miss out on the playoffs. We start off hot, and everyone gets their hopes up, and then all of a sudden, and just epic collapse.
Yeah. Yep. Free fall. And so looking at the scenarios now for what the Wings have to do. So they have 12 games left, I believe, in the 25-26 season. So they have to win 7 to 8 of their last 8 games, I believe, in order to reach that 100-point threshold, in order to, at least guarantee themselves an opportunity to be in the postseason. And it's because we got into March and the same thing happened over again that we see and we have seen in recent years. And it just seems like an episode, or not an episode. It just seems like we popped in Groundhog Day. Have you ever seen Groundhog Day before, Ryan? I know you're,
is it a movie?
You're kind of it is. Yes,
I've
it
not.
is a movie. And it's I forget who the main actor is in it. Let me do a quick Google search here. Obviously it is a film, 1993. Who was the lead actor in it? Oh man,
Bill Murray.
Bill Murray. There you go. Yeah.
UConn.
So, anyways, he keeps living this reality over and over again, and it keeps happening and happening. That's a classic. I know your dad probably has seen that one, so I would pop that one in. And if you want an idea as to what it's like being a Red Wings fan around this time of the year, it's probably a pretty good, accurate representation of the nightmare that we just live on repeat. And it's once again happening this year. And the reason being is because, again, we haven't made the moves that we've needed to make. But I think more importantly, Ryan, something about injuries in this town. I don't know what it is about our best players or our, I mean, it is right when we need to be at the top of our game. Everything can be going right. Everything can be in the right places. I'm not going to say Stevie Y was as aggressive at the deadline as he needed to be. I think he could have been far more aggressive with his moves. I don't think that Falk is necessarily a guy that moved the bottom line for this Red Wings team, and so I can see some frustrations there. But the other side of it, though, that we have to address is the things that we can't necessarily control, which is the injuries. Again, this Red Wings team has been injury prone again this year. You look at the Pistons, obviously with Cade at the end of the year. Now, they were able to string it together to beat the Lakers, but I think we have stopped having these conversations about, are they a contender? If Cade's not on the floor, they're not a contender. Sorry. And it just so happened to be the same time Jason Tatum came back. So I don't really see them as the favorite in the East anymore. We don't even have to go as far as to say what's going to happen in the NBA championship. I don't think they're the favorite in the East. And so is a lot of the time, and of course we can talk about Lions and the slew of injuries that happened to them over the last couple of years that derailed any chance at our window of going to make a run to a Super Bowl. Now, that window is still creaked open. There's still opportunities if we shape this team in the offseason the way we should. But that is the other hard part. And it's like, you're right. What is it? It just, sometimes it feels like something in the air. But, for the Wings, I mean, it's win now, and win is the only option, that's it.
So I would say, first off, in the city of Detroit, we got to figure out if we got a San Francisco 49ers problem. We got some electromagnetic field by the stadiums or something down in the basements of something. Like, we got to figure that
plates.
out. We gotta figure that out. So, I don't know what's up with the injuries, But for the NHL standings right now, we are currently the first team out of the wild card. The Islanders are 1 point above us, but they do have that extra game played. So we really need a victory here tonight because that puts us at 85 or 86 rather, which would then tie us with the Bruins for the number one wild card. But I think they have the tiebreaker due to just. Oh wait, no, they don't. Again, I don't know how the tiebreakers work in the NHL. I don't know if it goes to goal difference first. I don't know if it goes to regulation wins first. Whatever it is. But again, still the fact that the Red Wings are -3 in the goal difference and they're still in the playoff race, I think that might be a sign of something. But if we win this game, we go up to 86. But most importantly, because we're playing Ottawa, they're 1 point behind us in the same level of games played. They're at 83, we're at 84. So if they were to win, they jump us to go to 85, which they then be tied with the Islanders. But if we win this game, not only does that separate 2 more points between us and Ottawa with 11 games to go, we're right back in the mix. We're above the Islanders, and we're right back in the mix with the Bruins in terms of points. And they could lose a game, then maybe we're back to being tied. And then you look at Montreal, they have 1 less game played, but then we'd be tied, or 2 games less played, but we'd be back tied on points again. So it is just a cluster of teams just trying to making the final wild card spots. It sucks that we're in the Atlantic Division in the East, but again, this is probably the biggest game in Stevie Y's tenure as the GM of the Detroit Red Wings. Obviously, he's played many much bigger games as a player, but in his GM career, this is probably the biggest game because of all the scenarios, but all the points that I just mentioned to you. I mean, from the 3rd spot in the Atlantic, you could lose 1 game and you fall out of the playoff spot. You could lose 2 games in a row and you fall out of the wild card spot. It's unbelievable what they have to do, and I'm already prepared for the scenario where we have 90 points or something like that, and we just miss out on the playoffs for something like that because of how stacked our division is. It's unreal. But again, massive moment. And where you talked about, may not have upgraded in the right positions. Well, we did add at the deadline in Justin Falk. We gave up a first-round pick. We gave up a third. Gave up, I think, a prospect of some sort, whatever. But again, it didn't hurt us in the long run. But again, he's still signed for next year. So I think he has made some of the moves. The difference now becomes the injuries. We need our captain out there. We need Dylan Larkin. Is Dylan Larkin going to, win us a Stanley Cup this year? No. I don't think the Red Wings will get out of the first round. But you know what? We need that playoff hockey. We need playoff hockey back in Detroit. There's supposedly some signs yesterday of some Red Wing flags on cars, which means only one thing, that the fans are getting behind the Red Wings in Detroit. When the flags end up on cars, that's kind of like the bat signal of like, okay, the Red Wings might be making a run at this thing. They might be making the playoffs. The city's getting behind them. But we need a win here today. I don't want to say it's a Game 7-like vibe, but it feels like this could be a Game 7 feel inside LCA here tonight.
Yep, Larkin is considered obviously a game time decision for the matchup with being day to day. So, I think he's a very important one to get back. And the reason why it's the most important game in his tenure is obviously you're only as relevant as your most recent success or your most recent failure, right? And it is the biggest thing in this is you have to make Detroiters actually believe in the Yzer plan. Yeah, you have to instill some level of confidence. And it starts with making the playoffs. And I feel the same way about the Pistons, like just getting in and showing that you can compete and make a series out of it. And who knows, if a couple of calls go differently in that Knicks series, maybe we're talking about that Pistons team marching on to the next round. But that at the very least got us to a point to where we're like, okay, like there's something here. And then that turned into obviously what this year has been, but you need something. Like you can't, the worst place to be in sports is not to be the worst team, and it's not to be the best team. It is to be that team that is so horribly 500, but just simply can't get in. And that's where I feel like the Wings have been so consistently recently. So yeah, it's as close to a must win as you can get.
Yeah, and Larkin was reportedly skating with the first team yesterday. How he's able to come back, like the way it looked on live TV and the way I'm looking at it on Twitter, I'm like, oh gosh, Larkin might be gone for the year. But the fact that he can make a comeback with the way the injury looked, I think is almost a little bit of a miracle in itself. And obviously, I got a couple things when we talk about the Pistons here soon, because Cade Cunningham might not even be MVP anymore because he's not even eligible to play or eligible for the award. That's how crazy it is.
Yeah, and for an organization that's never had an MVP, which is really like, ugh, like that hurts more because that's the one that you wanted. So yeah, that's tough. But no, I mean, yeah, when it comes to the Wings, you're right. I mean, it's as close to a must win as they can get for tonight, and they have to play strong on down the stretch. And it sucks being in this position right now, but I think we all kind of had this inkling that this might be the way it ends up going, and it certainly did. So yeah, it is. Yeah, it's as close to a must win. I had something in the can that I was going to say, completely forgot, escaped my mind, but we can get into the Pistons conversation as well. Let's take one more break. When we come back, we'll talk a little bit of Pistons basketball, and then we'll also get into question of the day. You're watching episode 256 here on Inside the Game.
Experience the thrill of the game like never before with NSN's Game Rewind. Dive into full match commentaries enhanced with cutting-edge dynamic graphics, letting you relive the highs and lows of your favorite matches in astonishing detail. Whether it's a championship win or a legendary play, NSN Game Rewind bridges the past and future with a broadcast experience designed to captivate. Call 586-304-4405 and start watching today.
My bad. I thought there was another commercial.
No, you're good. I thought there was another one too. That's why I was kind of waiting there for a second, but no, we're good.
Yeah, I was looking at Michigan, Duke, and Arizona are all within 1/10 of each other in terms of in terms of KenPom efficiency rankings. That's what I was looking at, which is crazy because the next closest team in the tournament that's still remaining is Illinois, which is like 4 points off. So that's what I was looking at.
Yeah, well, and I mean, you talked about making the games better. I mean, I think we're gonna have some pretty freaking good matchups on down the line in the Sweet 16. What's crazy is that if this isn't the year the Big Ten breaks the curse, I don't know what else I mean, how many Big Ten teams we've had march to the Sweet 16 is freaking wild to me.
6,
I mean, there's 6 of them in the Sweet 16? That's crazy. Yeah, record. So let's hope that materializes. But getting into Pistons talk a little bit here before we get to question of the day. Here in hour number 2, again, follow us on social media at Sports Nation TV. But the Pistons last night ending what was, I believe, a 9-game winning streak for the LA Lakers, a team that is getting some serious talk of maybe now being a title contender with how they've been playing on down the stretch. And obviously Luka's just been out of his mind at the moment. But last second shot yesterday fell short for the Lakers. They were able to get the job done 113-110 on Monday. And big win for the Pistons. I think that, obviously playing without Cade Cunningham, you think about it on the other side, obviously they didn't have Marcus Smart or Rui Hachimura. He's out with a calf injury right now, but not having Cade, I think, is probably the biggest storyline of the game. But the one thing that the Pistons showed is, yeah, they're still a persistent bunch fighting back and winning that game. But, you said you had a couple of takeaways on your end. What is your biggest look at this? Clearly, there's still a bunch of scrappers. They can still fight and win. It's hard to get excited about anything knowing that Cade's not available.
I just think this team isn't going to win many series. I think they'll win one. in the first round. But if I'm being honest, I can't say without Cade on the floor, I just don't think this team is all that. Like, they play really hard, they defend really well, they play as a team, but the NBA is about stars. And if I'm looking at this roster without Cade, maybe Duren's a star. I mean, I know he was an all-star. Like, okay, if I were to ask this is what I was thinking while I was watching the game. If I were to ask the most casual NBA, if I was the most casual NBA basketball fan, whatever you want to say, who some of these players are, I bet you they probably just know who I think 4 of them are. And one of them is not because of basketball, and that's Beef Stew because he fights everyone. That's not because of a basketball reason.
Yeah.
But they probably know who Jalen Duren is. He's an all-star. Beef Stew, I mentioned, not really. It's because of his off the court. Well, non-basketball on the court stuff where how he fights and gets suspended all the time. They probably know who Tobias is simply because he's been there for a long time. Again, maybe they know who Duncan Robinson is just because I know he was in Miami for a little bit.
Danis Jenkins?
Who?
Danis Jenkins?
No one knows. The casual does not
Come on,
know
man.
No, and Danis Jenkins, about damn time you showed up yesterday. You sucked for the last month ever since you got your contract extension. About damn time you scored more than 10 points. It's about damn time, Danis. You scored 30. Congrats. You got a double-double. You did your job. That's about it. It's about damn time you showed up. But, again, I look at this roster. Asar Thompson, I think he's integral for this team, but not because as a scorer. I think his defensive work. But if you just get rid of Cade Cunningham, this is the Detroit Tigers. There's just a bunch of dudes. Like, it's casuals. And it's the same thing with the Red Wings.
Yeah,
like,
you're right. Tobias Harris, 3-point shooter, a veteran. I mean, he can do a lot of good things, and that's we like Tobias Harris in that way. But is he a star? No. Duncan Robinson, spot up shooter, 3-point shooter. I mean, if he's not hitting threes, he's not doing much. Did hit 4 the other night, but he's a specialist. Jalen Duren, I would consider Jalen Duren a star in his position, but again, his work, as you talked about, a lot of it is on the offensive side. No, he's efficient in shooting the ball, and he can shoot his free ones. 10 for 10 last night, which I thought was really good. But I mean, you're not gonna hitch your bandwagon to Jalen Duren. You need someone to set him up, like a Cade Cunningham. Asar Thompson obviously is integral with what he does on the defensive end. He's not a prolific scorer, though, so he's kind of a specialist in that way. Again, that's why it all worked, because you had so many different players who filled out, I felt like, different certain specific things, and it all worked around Cade. That's the problem. Is Danis Jenkins going to be our centerpiece now moving forward? I don't know if you can rely on playoff wins in that scenario. There's no way.
And just look at it's the more that I talk about it, the more I just realize I'm like, wow, all these Detroit teams are the same. You take away a Skubal, you take away, again, hockey might be a little bit different with Sider, Raymond, I get Evanson maybe, but you take away the star player on this team, whether that's a Dylan Larkin, whether that's a Cade, whether that's a Skubal. The Lions are a different beast. They got stars all over the place. But if you were to take out Larkin, Cade, and Skubal, you got just a bunch of guys. Yeah, Riley Green, good. Framber Valdez, good. Verlander will be a good story. Gleyber Torres, fine. But, if you were to ask the most casual fan in that sport, a majority of them probably do not know who these guys are. They don't. Because, these Detroit teams haven't gone far in the playoffs. Yeah, maybe the Tigers have won a couple wild cards, but that's it. The Pistons won 2 games in the playoffs. They lost. And then I look at the Red Wings, they haven't been yet. So, there is I want to say there's a lack of stars in Detroit. I really do. Outside of the Lions, there's a lack of stars. But, the weird thing is our stars are, the top of the top, like Skubal and Cade. It's the top of the top. But, outside of that, there ain't shit.
It's tough to get depth. Mostly because Detroit's not a town that normally attracts free agents, and it doesn't matter.
I would say we have a lot of depth, but they're not good depth. There's a lot of guys who you can plug and play in certain spots, but if we're relying on Duncan Robinson and Danis Jenkins and Karis LeVert to get us to the playoffs, dude, we might as well just wrap this thing up and just not even play. Let's just forfeit. And Gorez, who, by the way,
come on,
Gorez, who probably has not been to a home Pistons game all year, all of a sudden shows up to the Lakers game. Hey, Tom, did you know like a month ago the best two teams in the NBA played each other on your home floor and you weren't there? Weird how that works.
Yep. No, I completely agree. I completely concur and second all of that. I just think Detroit is sometimes it's a hard city to go out and make signings happen simply because in some sports it's not a destination.
Didn't matter then.
Yeah, well, you're right. Dynasty. You're right. That was, and that was Illich, the father, who was willing to spend all that money. And I guess that's an uncomfortable thing to do. Like, you're right, especially when it comes to the Tigers. They've been a little bit more, in my experience at least, more conservative with the money that they spend. But also you got to consider the fact that there are certain free agents that will only come to Detroit if you put certain things in their contract that maybe are a little bit more above and beyond where they would go elsewhere. Because if they're weighing their options and they're like, hey, I could go to Los Angeles, California, or I could go to Detroit, Michigan. I mean, yeah, I say I love Motown. I say I love Detroit, but I'm going to have to really think long and hard about that, despite how expensive property taxes are in LA. No one can afford to live there. But anyways, there are some things that, there's some exceptions that you have to make or go a little bit above and beyond to get the players to come to Detroit, regardless of whether or not we like that or we agree with that. I think it's a great place. You shouldn't have to get anything extra because you get to see us, right? Like, that's pretty cool. So anyways, but that's where it can be difficult for sure. But I'm hoping that it's only a couple of weeks for Cade to get back. And we've seen players come back
April
from
18th is when he's expected. Which would be round one of the playoffs.
So, which is good. The only thing I fear is is he completely back to full health when he's there? Because, it's almost like pneumonia in a way when you get a collapsed lung. Like it's something that your body has to physically come back from. It's not like you're just done and you feel better. So how does that affect him? How does that affect his play? I think him just being on the floor changes everything. So to your point, that's the most important part in all this.
Yeah,
but
I'd agree.
Let's get into question of the day.
Question of the day presented by Salt Athletic, official partner here at the National Soccer Network and presenter of Question of the Day. Use promo code NSN15 to save 15% off that #1 smell-proof cleat bag that 100% works. Scan the QR code on your screen or visit saltathletic.com today. But question of the day. If you can go back into high school and you were an athlete, how much money would you make in high school based on NIL?
Probably $50. Probably $50. Someone would have me do like a local pizza commercial. I know that there was the Subway wouldn't use me. I know there's a Subway down the street. What other West Side staples are there here? And probably Mr. Burger. If I did like a Mr. Burger commercial or I showed up there or something, yeah, maybe $50. Maybe a free hot dog voucher or something. I'm considering along the lines. I was an all right athlete once upon a time. I was pretty strong, but no, they ain't giving me shit, Ryan. Hell no, ain't gonna happen.
I'd probably make $0. To be honest with you, a couple players on my team probably would make a little bit, or probably a lot more than me. Just on my soccer team alone. They were good at the sport. I was okay at it. So I would probably make $0.
That's the other part of the conversation because I didn't even think about that. Like for me, not much, but for my teammates, I think about, I was a quarterback at my school, Travis Russell, who oddly enough, I find this so funny because he was a quarterback coach, like a specialist. He worked with Bryce Underwood directly at Michigan this last year under Sharon Moore. And yet in the media, I heard Kyle Whittingham talk about how they didn't have a dedicated quarterbacks coach last year. And I'm like, I'm fairly certain that a guy I know very well was working with quarterbacks. I'm like, what do you mean they didn't have a quarterback coach? But so
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
I don't really want to say I don't know if you really want to say your old teammate was the quarterback coach at Michigan this year. I don't want to say that.
Trav played at Ferris. He was really good. He's a smart guy. I just think Sharon was just too busy, what, all the hanky panky as opposed to doing his job. So, but he probably would have gotten a little bit because he played at Ferris, so he was there right around the same time. What's his nuts from Cas Tech?
J. Rue Campbell.
Yeah, there you go. He was right around the same time J. Rue was there.
Was
so,
an idiot.
Yeah, he was a dummy. He actually he stayed. Oh, he didn't play his senior year because he wanted to get ready for the NFL draft. Like, yeah, okay. I don't know what your agent is or what they're telling you, but he could have gotten some. There were some other guys, Buddy Bryce Witham, who made that one-handed catch for Minnesota to beat Auburn in a bowl game a few years back. He probably would have gotten some. So yeah, I probably would have had teammates that made some sort of NIL. I'm trying to think of anybody else who I played with who might have gotten some. A lot of D2s, couple of D1s. I certainly know that there's certainly other players that have come out of my high school, but is there like a most notable athlete that graduated from where you went to high school?
Tywan Jones.
Anyone
probably.
Make the bigs?
He played.
Okay.
He's starting linebacker for Michigan State when they won the Rose Bowl. I would say,
yeah, yep.
The two Hodgson twins I played with at Anchor Bay that were at Western. A couple of kids have played baseball at Michigan and Michigan State now. Which, if I'm being honest, it's like going to Central to play baseball.
Yeah,
Big Ten is on the level of the MAC in baseball.
Yeah.
That's probably about it. Oh, one kid ran cross country at Ohio State. That's about it.
Oh, there you go. All right. I will say the most notable alum I think ever to come out of the high school that I went to was not an athlete. His name was Tom Ryan. He had actually invented the dollar menu. He also invented stuffed crust pizza, and he also invented smash burger. So 3 different things that he came up with, and he graduated from the little old Catholic high school that I went to here in Grand Rapids. So that's probably the most notable of which. But I will say that it is cool to see that there are NIL opportunities for high schoolers, though. I just hope, I think mainly the hope is that it doesn't get out of hand the way that it did in the college game. But there's going to be trickle-down effect to what is going on in NIL in college. And I think it's good for a lot of different reasons. I think it's good most notably because, again, for the educational component and learning how to navigate all that. And money controls everything, my man. So just another layer in that.
Cash rules everything around me. Wu-Tang, even though they're trash.
Yep. Exactly. That wraps up episode 256 here on Inside the Game. Again, one last time here before we take off. 257 coming up tomorrow. Keep it locked on our social media pages at National Soccer Network. Again, Sports Nation TV. That's sports with a Z. Going to be posting up all of our clips there again as we get closer to the World Cup. We also got some action broadcasts continuing out through the course of the week. We got MASL. We got other indoor games coming up this weekend. Obviously, the major indoor soccer league has their championships on the horizon. Our good friend Ryan Glinsky will actually be on that broadcast. So keep it locked for all that. When we come back tomorrow, tomorrow's Wednesday, isn't it? Yeah. All right. So we're gonna get into our Wednesday conversation. That's coming up tomorrow on episode 257 of Inside the Game.
From the biggest matches to the hottest takes, Jonathan Turner and Nathan Wenger bring you the stories, the analysis, and the edge you won't get anywhere else. Streaming live weekdays at 9 a.m. on YouTube, Roku TV, Facebook, Twitter, and all major platforms. No filters, no fluff, just real talk, real soccer.